love coffee.
3, 2, 1. Hey, man. What's going on with y'all, bro? We got Jidenna, we got Swanky in the building, bro. How are y'all fellas doing today?
Feel good.
Caffeinated, man.
Feel good. I had some sparkling water. I feel bubbly.
Sparkling water, bro.
I just got on the sparkling water like last year. Yo, I don't even want to put people on.
Do it. You got
Ginger
to.
sparkling water. Have you had it at Whole Foods?
No.
Nobody gets it, by the way. So it's cheap. It's like $5.
Does it taste like ginger beer?
It's no, don't see.
I just want to. I'm asking
Don't
the
oversell
question.
it.
water.
But I'm saying like
It's
you know like the.
imagine you had a tincture of ginger and you put ginger extract on your sparkling water.
Okay.
Word.
It's just like a little splash, but because you get that Topo Chico sparkle plus ginger,
Yeah.
It's like,
mad.
Oh yeah. I
Mad
need that.
refreshing.
I hate that I said it though, because it's
Yeah.
gonna raise the price.
For sure. For sure.
Now everybody's gonna start finding the ginger sparkling water. It must be only at like one specific store or something
It's
like that.
it's
Though.
at Whole Foods.
Whole Foods.
Whole
I
Foods.
could have just not said that.
You
but-
could have just said
Yeah.
ginger
Yeah.
sparkling.
I'm practicing radical honesty, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between, and that's what it is. But we are here. Thank
We're
you for
here.
having us, and thank you for this coffee. It's been fantastic. I helped myself in the lobby
Yeah.
as I usually do.
What flavor of coffee what did you go for this morning?
You know what? I you guys had like a hazelnut creamer. I got some medium roast Colombian something or other. But it was the creamer. It was the creamer.
The
And
hazelnut.
that's got me on one right now.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, good. That was a great introduction to the conversation itself. Really, I just want to kind of get introduced to you guys. One, personally, like for myself, everybody knows, like, you know, Jidenna, classic man, but Swanky, you are someone new on my radar. So, like, you know, for people that are just like me, could you, like, kind of give us a little bit of backstory, a little history on yourself?
Who are you?
Who am I? Yeah. I'm Swanky. I'm a producer, DJ, engineer, songwriter, jack of all trades of some sort. I started off as a producer, so I'm like behind a lot of different songs, and that's actually how me and Jidenna met. He sampled a beat of mine that ended up being Susu.
Word.
And so that's how I first started, and I've been producing ever since. And yeah, man, it's stepping out as an artist with the person I started my career with.
That's what's up. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
We also went to
Congratulations.
Ghana a couple years back. Swanky was part of the Birthright Africa crew, where we take a bunch of scholars to Africa for the first time. We were going to Ghana, and we had an amazing time. I think we were there
Great
10
time.
days
Yeah.
with the whole cohort. So that was a time where, beyond the initial Susu record, we got to bond, party, you know, see. We went to the dungeons and had a spiritual experience. We went to go see what you guys would call the witch doctor.
Yeah.
So we had like an amazing holistic experience. I think on that trip we were able to bond to the point where we were like, yo, let's do more records.
Yeah.
So now we have the Bashmen duo, where we have a comic book series meets Afro dancehall house music kind of fused together.
Word.
So we have a few records, and the first couple are out. Well, first one's out, and the second one's about to be out.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's jump into that first track. What, Majo? Or
Sure. I mean, the first one that is out technically is BIH.
okay.
But the second one that's about to drop right now.
Okay, well, let's talk about BIH first.
All right. Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, man. It started as a joke, actually. When we first thought about making a project, we decided to do something that was like Afro and house. And so when researching house, I felt like I was trying to figure out what was my favorite type of house.
Word.
So I listened to New York house, Detroit house, but then I fell in love with Chicago house. And the reason I fell in love with Chicago house is because the reggae in me and those bass lines, they felt like they talked to each other in a way
Okay.
that I appreciated. And I was like, man, I wonder if I can do, like, if I have this dance hall bass and I put these Afro drums with this kind of Afro Chicago house, like we could do something magical. So I was like, fuck it. I just went to Chicago. I just went to Chicago. I went to study like all the different things that were happening. I just wanted to be on the scene, essentially.
Yeah.
And so one of the days I was walking to a cafe and everyone was staring at me, for many reasons. Like mostly it was a lot of white people staring at me. Like saying like, yo, who is this guy? Like,
Yeah.
this is a new face, amongst other reasons, right?
Right.
And usually I roll my eyes and ignore it, but I was like, no, it's because I'm gorgeous. And that's how that kind of started. And then, we just made it together.
Nah. Hey,
Oh
I feel you though. Sometimes you just like, if you can't really get the answer directly from the people, you gotta answer it yourself. And like, shit, I'm beautiful today.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Or maybe you had a 10 milligram gummy, bro. Everybody, either one. I've never heard this story. I have, but I didn't know that was what you told yourself.
Yeah, it's because I'm gorgeous.
So when Swank sent me the record, he had the hook on it already.
Right.
He's like, lay a verse to this. Actually, I think you just put it in a folder, but I loved it. And I wasn't feeling gorgeous. A lot of days I don't feel gorgeous. I don't like looking at the mirror at all. It's like one of them, it is terrible. I know that's like it's insecurity. It's whatever I thought masculinity was when I was a boy. And I don't look at the mirror like that. That's crazy. That's corny. That's what girls do. Yeah. So, whatever I thought, I still have it. It's ridiculous. So I don't like looking. And so when I heard it, I'm like, yo, I don't want this to come off as a cocky song, because unlike Swank, I don't go into the cafe thinking I'm gorgeous. I actually think the opposite. So I wanted to do a song about feeling ugly, and feeling hideous. Like, don't look at my face, but do it with the kind of Afro leaning in terms of the style of my delivery, the way I did talk when I'm in Niger. So just if I came with that attitude, but be confident in your insecurities, be secure in your insecurities, I thought that'd be a cool angle. So that's the verse, and then he did the chorus, and then, that jam pretty much, you can hear all the sonic influences that Swank's talking about, Chicago house, a little bit of dancehall, and a little bit of Afro fusion.
And I also think the duality of our perspectives was important, because I felt the way I felt, because of the way he felt. When people listen to the song, it feels like a more empowering song about themselves.
Exactly.
For sure.
And that was really important, and a lot of intention was put behind it to be like, not only am I saying that I feel gorgeous, but when you sing the song, you feel gorgeous as well. Right. And you're saying that you're gorgeous. So I think that the duality is really important in that situation.
And I would agree. Like, when I got a chance to, check out the song, I was sitting there kind of thinking the same thing. Like, okay, he's talking about, I don't feel pretty. I don't think this about myself. I don't think that. And at first, I was kind of listening to it in passing, and then I had to go back and dive into the track. Like, okay, there's a lot going on in here. Like, one, sonically, but then two, if you actually listen to the track, it's more so like to help uplift you in a certain sense, So I really enjoy that track a lot.
I think I wrote the verse when I was skinny fat, which is like the worst thing for me. Like, you want your body to just choose. Be skinny or be fat. Like, come on. That's for me. I would rather be one or the other. But I was both. So I was looking at my belly like, damn, bro, that's where you at? And my arms were teeny, and I'm like, all right, that's why it starts off, most days I'm too skinny, too fat, Like, that's what everybody feels. And it's ridiculous how much we are concerned, but we're in the most vain times and most mirrored times. I mean, like, there's a mirror right there that they can't see. This is a mirror, and then I'm now in a 9:16 aspect ratio talking to somebody on the phone, which is its own camera mirror. Right. So there's so much, like, self-deprecation because we see ourselves so much. So that's why I think the record is doing well, specifically on TikTok.
Yeah,
for sure. That's respect. I'm glad that the people are syncing with the record the way that you would want them to, because it seems like, one, for you to go out to Chicago, have that immersive experience in order to get to this track. Like, you would want people to understand what you was putting out.
For sure. Yeah. I want people to understand how beautiful Chicago is, and specifically the mambo sauce. And that's what that track, I want that to communicate, that Chicago is beautiful, you are beautiful, and when you go to Chicago, please have mambo sauce.
Straight up. I ain't gonna lie, I was just in DC this past weekend. I had to get me some wings with that mambo sauce.
Hello. Yeah, me too.
Hello.
A couple weeks ago.
I was just in DC too.
Had to, bro. I was like, I can't leave without doing this. Like, I don't care what else I get. It's either gonna be seafood or mambo sauce, bro. Like, all right. So, like, let's kind of jump into the Bashmen EP itself, right? So the song that I was talking about at first, Majo, can we talk about that one?
So Majo was originally passed to me for Mr. Easy.
Okay.
It was written and recorded in like 2018. Mr. Easy sent it to me. C. Nati was the original writer on it, and then I laid some verses on it. And we wanted to do a newer rendition of it. So Swanky reproduced it, and then when I heard that version, I was like, oh, wow. That's it got muscle. You know what I mean? It took the skinny fat and put it in the gym. And I actually started working out to that record, and it in Yoruba, it has a lot of Yoruba. Thanks to C Nati, who was my Duolingo teacher for the record, and then Pidgin that I'm speaking in it. But in Yoruba, it's a very simple song. There's other songs by the same name. It just means let's dance, dance. And but I think it's always the way you say something and the context. So with the muscle provided by Swank, and it like forces you. It's got the Afro dancehall swing on it.
Yeah.
And we did a couple remixes that are coming out shortly. Kwamzi, shout out to Kwamzi and Murda, who put together a 3-step remix, and shout out to Leia, who did like a lo-fi house mix.
That's fire. That's fire. I'm looking at the track list. I noticed that a couple of the tracks that you have, like there's an original title, and then you threw trance behind it, like for the next track. Now, can you tell me about like what that is and what's the aspect behind that?
So yeah, the EP when it comes out is gonna be like essentially like one long it's a DJ set of some sort. So when you hear it, everything is seamlessly transitioning through. And all it is just taking you through like a musical story about like the influence of house that we liked, and the different sections of houses that we like. So it's a transition album. It's gonna be. I'm really excited about it.
It just means transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
It was a more note to self. It's probably not gonna be called parentheses transition.
Yeah. We'll come with
but that's
cool.
good. I'm glad you got that list. That means you in the inner circle now.
Yeah, bro.
You got the director's notes.
Welcome.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you. All right, so let's talk about the first track on the EP itself, like Yin. Now I'm thinking we're talking about some money here, right? All right, we'll break that down for the people.
Yeah, I think it's at its core, it's really just an introduction track into this world that we're building. And I think that the way that we looked at it is more about like just introducing ourselves as the Bashmen. It's like, let me show you. We're trying to show a little bit of rudeness, a little bit of dancehall, like that kind of like brash and like a big opening to the track. So I feel like that was like more the intention than anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fire. That's fire.
I remember we had a discussion about it because I liked the hook, but I was like, bro, I don't want to make no money song. It's not what, like, I don't care. Money's never motivated me.
For sure.
So I don't know if I put the line in there. I don't even remember what my bars were. I just remember talking to you about how time was more important than money.
For sure.
And I maintain that. Time is a human's or any living creature's most valuable asset. Money is fictitious,
Right.
but time is nonfiction. So nonfiction is always going to be more valuable. So we talked about that. I don't know how philosophical we got on there.
Yeah.
But I know that the lyrics were meant to share kind of our view of value. You know what I'm saying? But I say that like it sounds deep now. Nothing that we did on this entire album is deep. It's not that deep. It was one of the core values because you don't want people to feel like you're thinking. Or nobody wants to think and dance. People just want to dance. So inputting simple values and simple wisdoms was our MO. And I think that, for me, that comes from reggae music. Bob Marley, of course, he was a king at this. Creating music that's so simple that a baby can understand.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's that. I just give you the backdrop for how we thought about things, but don't go in there expecting a Kendrick verse about like time versus money. It's not that deep.
Nah, this is I actually took some time just to kind of like, you know, go through the tape itself, even just like sit
Thank
there
you.
and let it ride. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And it's full of vibes that you can like you said, it depends on where you're going, what you're doing, but you can literally let this tape play all day, and then it won't be a distraction. It either make you move or keep you going type shit. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate it for that aspect because it's it's comfortable music. You know what
Nice.
I'm saying?
Easy to listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah, easy to listen to. Like even though like the beats can seem a little climactic or like very intense because you're mixing that reggae and that house tone, it's still something that's easy to digest.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. So another track that I want to jump into is RMF. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So it RMF stands for Run My Fade. You know, when you go through life, you get tried.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so many times that you just want to be like, someone cuts you off in traffic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone steals your DoorDash order.
Nah,
And
don't take
you
my
know,
DoorDash.
as a peaceful man, I wanted to put that into a song.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, hold on. Like, sometimes I just want to say Run My Fade. And
Yeah.
I want to do it in a song and not the other way. So it's really just, it's a fun song. It's a very upbeat song. And it's like, it's aggression at its core. But it's fun aggression, I guess.
I'll beat you up happily.
Happily.
Yeah, even the verse. Shout out to Kalechi for lacing the second verse.
Big Letch.
The first verse, I'll start with just the simplicity, and then I'll tell you the entendre behind it. I start off saying, "Chairman, make you go sit down." What that means in pidgin, make you or make I is like let you or let us. Make we is let us. Make you is like let you. Make I is let me. So make you go just like go and sit down. You go and sit down. But chairman is like one of the phrases we say in West Africa, where you know it's just like general, like big man, yo, hey big dog,
Yeah.
hey chief, chairman. But chairman, go and sit down. So the cleverness is just simple. Like, all right, you're a chairman, then go and sit down.
Yeah.
But that's the beginning of the bark that I think is felt throughout the song. It's just like a bark, you know, that light bark before you actually run somebody's face.
Yeah. Like, all right, I don't really got too much talking left in me. It's about to go down. So it's so
Yeah,
go
exactly.
easy,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. If we're gonna do it, all right.
Yeah, I feel that. All right, so the last track I do want to talk to you about is "Come For You."
Yeah,
That's my shit.
nice. See, he got the sleeper.
That's my shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard the unmixed version probably, but when it's mixed, we actually think that that's gonna do really well. Man, what are you gonna say about "Come For You"? It's just
Yeah. I could talk about what I'll say is this: the way the beat is structured is really interesting, I think. So I think a lot of what, at least the soundtrack to the album, is inspired by our travels. So if you're listening to different things, you can hear different regions. And that specifically was something. That specific sound I was inspired by when I went to Cuba. Because when I went to Cuba, I was hearing these drum rhythms and these certain guitars that were similar to like what Africans were doing and similar to what dancehall was doing, but like it was just mixed interestingly and like weird, right? Yeah. And I was like, I remember taking that in and being like, that's kind of cool, and I kind of put it in my pocket. And then when we went to the temple, the Magic Temple, they were doing a ceremony of some sort. And then I heard these drum rhythms, and they were just like ta 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 ta. I was like, hold on, this is kind of cool. And I remember the guitar from Cuba, and I remember the drum rhythms from Ghana, and I was like, I wonder what that would sound like together. So literally, after I came back from Ghana, like a day after, I was just like tinkering. I'm like, no, this is the sound that I hear, and this is so cool to me. Like, I just want to create something really cool.
right.
And then like with a hard bass line underneath it, which goes back into me being inspired by Chicago House. And then I just sent it, and you did the magic, man.
Yeah, I felt the syncopation, I think, is what you were hearing in some of the Cuban music, the syncopated guitar and the rhythm section. I felt the romance, but the mystical element of what Swanky produced. So I wanted to write lyrics that were like the seduction of like, you know, I'm gonna come for you. You know, there's something about that hunt that people love when they're in a party, which is a human version of a mating hole, right? Like it's like the watering hole for animals. Like, let me see who's going to get the water.
Facts.
Like we literally have it. It's called a bar.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's just semi-toxic. So I wanted to make that, I wanted to elicit that feeling in the vocals, the reverb. All that is the more mystical side, I think, of the Bashmen sound, and the sound that I like doing, and I've been tinkering with over the course of a few albums. So it's very simple. I did come for you, you know, but that feeling that people have, I can't wait to see that at a party, at a function.
Word.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we summed it up pretty well, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. I love that record, man.
That's one of my favorite records.
Yeah, I
That's
really
one of my
enjoyed
favorite.
it.
And the ending, I love the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite records.
Well, I hope everybody feels the same way about that record that
Yeah.
y'all do.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, so just kind of to kind of tap into this aspect with the Bashmen, you two together. It's kind of like, you know, you two are bringing the ruckus, bringing the noise, right?
Yeah.
In a sense, for me personally, it kind of seems like a scaled down version of what Wu-Tang was kind of doing. You know what I'm saying? So like in this aspect, like with mixing the American culture and then the African culture and then bringing all of these together for your music, like how have you guys like maybe, I don't know if assimilated is the word that I want to use, but how have you taken some of the American culture outside of just Chicago and then brought the African culture into the music and made people like accept it? Because I feel like sometimes we get a little bit of clash because like, you know, there's artists like Blackie or maybe WizKid and stuff like that. Like they're bigger overseas. They come over here, they'll do well, but yet they're still bigger overseas. So like coming across the water and making your name known and doing things like that. Like how has that process been for you as an artist?
Man, I think, well, first thing, I'll start with the top of what you said. It's interesting you said Wu-Tang. I don't know if Wu-Tang was an influence, but I will say late 80s, early 90s hip-hop in terms of the intonations that were used and some of the phrases. I think Swanky's voice sometimes sounds like late 80s, early 90s.
For sure.
There's this very specific tone that I've only heard from him.
Yeah.
Bitch, I'm handsome. Like it sounds like that. And then even the verse I was talking about with Run My Fade, that started with a joke because I was like, yo, you know what would sound good over this beat? Is some like late 80s, early 90s for like, I'm not going to say any words, but like if I was to do gibberish, it's like,
Cha
dun,
cha.
da 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 da
Dun,
da,
yeah.
a doop do do no,
Dun, dun.
you know, bop, baby, no,
Dun,
you
dun.
know what I mean? But that's what I did, chair mine,
Yeah.
make you go sit
Yeah.
down. You know, like that's the. So it was really interesting fusing it. So to your point, we were taking flows from a different era of hip hop before we were even probably aware of what hip hop was and born, and taking that and then flipping it with Afro and dancehall tones
Word.
and language between patois and pidgin. So I think as long as you're aware, we're diasporic children.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, like all of the artists you mentioned, some of the greatest one, Davido, who was shout out to DJ Cash last night.
Great time.
We were at
Bamba Tuesdays.
Bamba Tuesdays at Rocksteady, which was
Shout
my
out to
first time.
Cash.
That was fantastic.
That was your first time?
First time.
Fucking
And it
love
was
it
his
there.
birthday.
I love it there.
It's
It was
such
his
a great time.
birthday.
Beautiful. People move.
There was a lot of people in the building, but
Yeah.
Davido was there, right? He lived in Atlanta as well as Lagos. He's traveled all over London. He becomes a diasporic person. And even when you listen to Burna talk, like there's a reason why specific people cut through the market is because he's a diaspora. He understands, he loves reggae and dancehall. When he speaks, he can kind of morph between Kingston and New York and London and Lagos.
Yeah.
So that creates an outlook. And for us, being from the East Coast originally, but also living in Atlanta, you know, you live here now. I used to live here. LA, I've lived in 2 continents. I've lived in Nigeria. that allows you to have a diasporic outlet. So you make sonic choices that you're aware that multiple people around the world, at least in the English speaking world, are gonna listen to it, and they're gonna understand, even if they don't know why they like it. It's because you made those fine choices.
Yeah.
And I think there's another layer to that I think we should touch on, is the idea of us. We are first generation Americans.
Yeah.
And so our culture it's an interesting place to be in, where you're American but you're not American. You know what I mean? I remember even when I first came to Atlanta, I didn't know the song "Nuck If You Buck," and so like I'm sitting here in the crowd, and this is in the AUC, by the way. I went to Morehouse.
And you not.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait,
You gotta be banging
wait,
your
you
fist
know
together.
why are the ladies singing "If We Nuckin' and Buckin' and Ready to"? I don't know these things. I don't, right? But there's a culture there that you're kind of in two worlds almost.
Yeah.
That's really interesting, and it's more common than people think it is. There's a lot of first generations Americans here, and I think that specifically with this project, that the fusions kind of relate to our experience.
Word.
Where we're literally growing up in two different cultures. It's like, you know, I go home, I'm eating Jamaican food. I'm with my Jamaican family. I go outside, I'm with my Brooklyn homies.
Word.
You know what I mean? It's a really interesting culture and interesting fusion that I feel like is translated throughout this project.
For sure. For sure. I agree. Like I said, man, I really just hope that people sink and they feel what you guys felt as you were creating this
For
project.
sure.
Just to kind of wrap it up on this question, I would like to ask, like, what does music mean to you? Because I don't want to put it in just like a hip hop diaspora. Like you said, we're people of many cultures. We've been around the world type stuff. So, like, you know, music touches us in different ways and it influences you in different ways. So, like, just in that aspect, what does that mean to you?
Wow.
You can fire first, bro.
This is a big question. I feel like music to me is communication.
Nice.
I think that's what it is for me. I think so. A little bit about me is that I grew up in a specific place called East New York, Brooklyn, and it wasn't necessarily like the safest place. But I
Brooklyn,
yeah, it wasn't great. It was crazy out there. It's crazy outside. But so a lot of times I spent a lot of my time at home. Because I'm not going to the park. My mom not going to let me go to the park. I'm not doing the things outside.
Yeah.
And what I found solace in, actually, when everything is going crazy outside, was music. I was the guy on YouTube searching through a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I was, like, looking at New Edition, like, oh, this is cool. Run DMC, all these different things.
Yeah.
And then when I decided to be a musician, I'm like, how can I communicate a story that brings solace to other people? And so that's what music is to me. It's just communication. It's just like, how can I invoke an emotion in you that you feel handsome,
Word.
you feel gorgeous, and you feel wonderful, or you like had a bad day, and the track, your favorite track comes on. Everybody has these moments. You know what I mean? I'm having a bad day. I play that song. I'm like, oh, my whole day changes.
Facts.
Right? So that's what at its core is really just communication.
It is. I'd say I love that. I'd say music is an invisible device that controls human behavior. It's like the wind controls like whether or not your jacket moves.
Right.
Music is just invisible frequencies that control how a human feels and sometimes thinks if you add lyrics. Sometimes you don't even need lyrics, right? You'll take like a Robert Glasper and like Kamasi Washington and Terrence Martin record, and it can have no lyrics, but you hear the brass come in, and for some reason in that moment you love being with your friends. And you start saying, hey man, I love you, man. Let's get another shot. I love you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we've known each other 10 years. Like, you don't even know why you saying that. Well, it was the brass.
Right.
It controlled your behavior. Now you're going to get the drink, and now you guys are reminiscing on what it was like in high school.
Yeah.
It's an amazing device. And when you add vocals to it, you can really dictate how petty somebody is at a party. Why are you thinking that? Why are you talking about them over there? People you don't even know making stories. Because, well, you bumped your favorite rapper and they was talking like that.
Yeah.
So it really controls human behavior. It's a very powerful device. Unfortunately, we've been devalued because of some of these indescript streaming platforms. But our power is tantamount, or paramount, rather.
Yeah.
And I believe that we're in an age that hopefully will flip at least our value We're both independent artists. I left my label during the pandemic, so I'm still learning what it's like to be on this side. And now I really relate to the plight of both the indie and the major label artists, because I've seen both now.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think that that's a good summary of what music is: communication and an ability to control human behavior. The irony is you have to lose control in the studio to gain control on a record.
True.
That's real.
Very true.
That's real. And I do just want to, I appreciate you for mentioning, Terrace Martin, Robert Glasper. Terrace Martin, definitely just love listening to his music, man. It's amazing, bro. Yeah. But honestly, bro, man, Jidenna and Swanky, bro, I really appreciate y'all. This was a great interview. Great energy, guys. You guys are hella funny, man. I really do want everybody to, check out the Bashmen EP. I hope they sync the way that they're supposed to, man. And I just really wish you guys much success for the rest of the year and the years to come.
Thank you, fam.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you.